So I had the chance to meet Nick Bare recently. If you don't know who Nick is, look for him on YouTube. He's got a really entertaining channel, big following, but even more important than that, he is the founder and owner of Bare Performance Nutrition, BPN. They're a supplement company. And even cooler for me is that here in my town of Round Rock, Texas, he is building and finishing out a gym. So I got the chance to see the gym, got the chance to visit with Nick, got to talk a little bit of shop with him and everything like that. And I thought it might be a cool thing for you guys if you could get a review from me from using some of his products. They've got a really cool product line. I've got a couple of them here. So I wanted to talk to you from my perspective as an athlete, how those are working for me after using them for a couple of weeks. But who am I? Now, a quick word about supplementation. If you've watched this channel previously, you know that I am not what you'd call a prolific supplement user. I don't have a cabinet stocked full of them. I do believe, though, that for athletes, especially performance athletes, that there are kind of a staple few that you need to have, you need to use. Creatine, protein, BCAAs, occasionally pre-workout. So those are the ones that I'm going to keep around. I think BCAAs, this is Intra-workout, this is Nick's product, this is BPN's product. I think BCAAs should be a staple of any athlete's regimen. You should be getting everything you need from food. You should be eating intelligently, eat whole foods. But at the same time, there's so many benefits to BCAA supplementation that it's almost silly not to use those as an athlete. Now, I also have Flight, which is their pre-workout. And I'm going to get into this stuff and give you a real review because I think this is what a lot of people, when they're looking for a review, they really want to know because this is kind of a quick hitter. This is a thing you can see the results quickly. I'm going to talk about this. Now, I'm not a big pre-workout user. I do keep it in the arsenal because with my lifestyle, with having 3 kids, running a company, all the things that are asked of my time, all the different directions I'm pulled, sometimes the time, the energy, and the motivation just aren't there. So sometimes taking a scoop of little powdered motivation and putting that into a cup, shaking it up is what you need. I got the orange flavor, and I think you can't really downplay how important flavor is with supplements because if anybody's had a less than stellar flavor in their protein powder, their pre-workout, they remember it. That's some of the stories, most of the stories that I hear about that are bad stories about pre-workout are either I took too much or it tasted horrible. So this is one place that I can actually tell that Nick took a lot of care. And if you actually watch his YouTube video, you can see that they actually do taste testing. When they make new flavors, they taste test it themselves. It's pretty extensive. So this one, the orange flavor, it's legit. It's drinkable. It's easy to get down. And usually with these, this isn't something you walk around sipping. You know, pre-workout is something you get down pretty quick. That being said, as for what's in Flight, I apologize. It's going to get a little sciencey here. I generally try to stay away from that because 1, not that smart. 2, I think it's easy to get bogged down in that stuff and kind of forget the bigger picture. So I try not to talk about it a lot on the channel. 3, kind of boring. But what I like about the way Bare puts things in their packages is there's no proprietary blend. There's no mystery. They tell you what's in there. I think that's a big deal in the supplement industry. I think that industry and the fitness industry in general is maturing to a point where we want to know what we're putting in our bodies. And that's another reason it's important to get a little sciencey when you're picking out your supplementation. So, I mean, let's just run through it real quick. Energy, they get the energy from caffeine. Booyah, beautiful. That's exactly how it should be. Caffeine has proven itself time and time again, world leader in giving you energy. So in each scoop, 300 milligrams. That's quite a bit for somebody like me that doesn't indulge in pre-workout that much. When I've taken this, I can feel, if I get I do a full scoop, I can definitely feel the jitteriness that comes from caffeine starting to set in. The good thing is there are other compounds in here that I can feel are balancing that out. But again, I'm not a heavy caffeine user. I drink a lot of coffee, but 300 milligrams at one time is a lot for me. Focus, being able to focus on things like the sort of nootropic benefits, as you can call them. They have a couple of things in there. I feel those, but again, that's not something that I can traditionally struggle with, is being focused on them in the weight room. I kind of know what I'm doing and I can kind of set myself on autopilot sometimes and really lock in when I need to. I can definitely feel that sort of single-mindedness start to happen when I take this supplement. Like the single-mindedness to finish what I'm doing, and that's a good thing a lot of times. You want that, especially in a difficult movement. Now they have 2 compounds in here that are pretty well known for giving you a pump. I don't care that much about the pump. That's not my thing. That's not what I work for. It's kind of cool, I guess, to feel like, the blood, blood and fluid swelling into the muscles a little bit more. That's cool, it's fun, but it's just not what I'm looking for. So its effects in that regard don't concern me a great deal. But this next thing does quite a bit. Endurance, specifically muscular endurance. So this is something that is important to almost any athlete that lifts or that uses a barbell or that moves weight in any way, shape, or form. Beta-alanine is the primary ingredient that gets used in a lot of supplements, and it's no different in flight. The proportions that they use have actually been really, really good. Again, I'm not a mixologist when it comes to supplements, and I don't know how all the grams and weights and all that kind of stuff works. I'm going to leave that up to Nick. But I will say that using flight, I have felt like I have been able to go a little bit further into heavier sets than I would previously. When I'm benching a little heavier and squatting a little heavier recently, that's, heavier. But that's kind of happened where I feel like I can keep pushing for rep maxes. I'm not anywhere near 1 rep max range. I'm not pushing for that. But when I'm looking for rep maxes, I feel like I have a little bit more push, that I have a little more contractile force in my muscles for longer than I did before. Some of that sure is, between the ears. Some of that, I'm thinking that and I feel that because I'm supplementing and I'm doing it. But having done this for a long time, I can tell that there is an effect in play. Something is happening. Most importantly, it energizes me and it hits quick. The caffeine does its job very, very well. It tastes good to drink, and once it hits, I feel like lifting. That's what I want to focus on. Okay, so all that being said, slam this down. Let's start pulling on some weight. But before I begin, got to clean up the kids' barbells. Big lesson we got to teach here. Rack your weights, kids. So I really prefer to use BCAAs as an intra-workout drink. I'm going to be drinking something throughout the workout no matter what, so might as well use that time to supplement. This is where the flavor of Intra-Flight really comes into play. So I got the lemonade flavor. Whoa man, pretty good. Like this is the kind of flavor like I might just drink it on its own. Like you could literally just drink this by itself and enjoy it, and that's pretty rare. So kudos to those guys for doing that because this is a higher volume drink. You're going to drink more of it and you got to deal with it a lot more, and again it's kind of refreshing in the middle of a workout. Right now, for me, the block that I'm in, the way that I'm training in my off season it's moderate weight for a lot of reps, a lot of sets. So I'm doing sets of 5 today, and it's boring. It's not exciting weight. It's nothing to really get fired up for, but I feel motivated, and I feel like at the end of every set, I still got more in the tank. That's got to be a good thing. Maybe it's just because I'm personally awesome, but I'm going to go ahead and say that's probably not it. So pre-workout, always a helper. Okay, so all in all, turned out to be a pretty fun day. Tons of sets of 5s on deadlifts. And then, at the end, I felt like I had enough in the tank. Hit a couple of triples at 405. Nothing crazy, but felt like it was there. So I'm recovered well enough from my last few workouts to where that wasn't that big of a deal. Where I really felt the effects of the pre-workout was not so much during the barbell work, to be perfectly honest, but during the accessory work. That's the place where I struggle a lot of times, and this is a place where I think a lot of non-bodybuilding athletes tend to struggle, is that we're very task-oriented, and we're like, well, we want to complete a lift, we want to hit a number, we want to hit a certain rep range or something like that, but when it gets to the accessory work, we get bored. And I did not feel that this time. I was excited about doing my accessory work, and that's kind of something I've noticed with using Flight the couple of times that I have, that it's got to be something to do with my focus and my wanting to focus on that sort of stuff, and that's a big deal for me, because if left to my own devices a lot of times, I'll just ignore the accessory work. Okay, so last little bit of a science-y mumbo jumbo, I promise this time. But I talked a little bit earlier about how important BCAAs are for athletes, and part of the reason for that is the recovery part of it. When I've used any good branched chain amino acid, I have found that I'm able to, like right now, I'm in a volume phase, I'm in a lot higher repetition phase. I find that it's easier to put on and kind of maintain mass, and good mass. These are small percentage gains that we're talking about. Could be the extra 3 or 5% that gets you a little closer to your goal. So another thing that's a big deal for athletes is the ability to recover from intense training sessions. Recovery is the name of the game, especially when I get closer to my season. I'm going to be throwing 3-4 times a week, as well as doing work in the weight room, and I'm going to get sore in ways that right now I can't even imagine. So the ability to recover from those, the ability to not be so sore and bound up, to not feel that I've taxed my muscles beyond what I can recover from, that's huge. I don't think Nick and BPN have reinvented the wheel with branched chain amino acids. There's not a lot to reinvent, there's not a lot to do. That, it's proven, the research is out there, that you're going to get some benefit from those. To what degree, that's up for debate. They didn't have to reinvent the wheel, but what they did is that they emphasized quality. And to me, being a business owner, that is a big deal. And I understand how difficult that can be in a market that's flooded with competitors and people that are getting stuff to market fast. But they focused on quality. They made it very clear that here's what's in this product. They made it very clear that here are the proportions of what's in the product, here's what you're getting. And again, if you watch Nick's channel, you'll see the attention to detail that they put into those sort of things, how closely he works with the manufacturers and distributors to make sure that everything is high quality. And that's huge. That's really what you're looking for in a very flooded market. You're looking for somebody that pays attention to detail. Added to that, like I said before, the stuff tastes good. That's so huge. That's a big deal. You can't overlook that. So if I got to sum it up, overall, I'm a fan. Definitely a fan of BPN. It is stuff that I will use. I hold to the fact that in the branched chain amino acids, there's no complete reinvention. That's good, because there doesn't need to be. I would be mistrustful of a company that said they completely reinvented the way we do BCAAs. Now, in terms of the pre-workout, it did everything that I would ask of a pre-workout. It's probably, for this particular person right here, it's probably a little potent. It's probably a little powerful. But that's more of a comment on me. That's a comment on my training style, my supplement style, and how I attack my goals. But it did exactly what I asked of it. There are things in it, like I said, I don't really work for the pump. I don't need that. But it's pretty cool if you're somebody that's chasing the pump, that you have that, that's going to be part of it, because I know it's a big deal for people that have bodybuilding goals. But for me, it gave me the energy and it gave me the focus that I needed to get through with my barbell work, get through the accessory work, get it done. And then branched chain amino acids, the regular use of those is kind of giving me the desire and the ability to get back in there sooner and hit it again. Also, I think it's important to say that I'm not being compensated in any way, shape, or form for the stuff I'm saying about BPN here. These are just my thoughts about the product that I was lucky enough to get my hands on. So big thanks to Nick for that. Wish him the best of luck. We're going to hang out a little bit more this week. Matt's going to come down. We're going to have a little HVIII Brand Goods meetup with Bear Performance Nutrition. We'll have expensive cameras rolling and fake weights on the barbell.